Should you rent or should you buy? It's an age-old question that gets thrown around a lot, especially in times like these when the market is shifting. And everyone you know has a different opinion on it. So let's break it down and figure out what's best. And we'll do all that right here, right now. You've probably heard it all by now, like renting is a waste of time. Why should you pay someone else's mortgage when you could pay your own? And renting is fine if you like throwing your money away. These opinions have all been passed down through generations. And if you think about it, it makes sense because historically, the common sentiment among society is that homeownership is something you should strive to achieve. So you'll hear arguments like renting doesn't build equity, or you have less control and stability when you rent, and it costs much more in the long run. Now, these arguments may hold some truth, but it's just one side of the story. There are many other factors you should consider when deciding. So let's take a look at the flip side. Here are some advantages you should consider when deciding whether or not you should rent. First, it has a low startup cost. There's no down payment required like there is when you're purchasing a home. You do have to pay your first and last month's rent, but obviously that's a lot more affordable than 20% down for $1 million home, which, in case you're wondering, is the average price of a home in Toronto nowadays. And if you want to learn more about down payments and how much is required, click the link above to watch a short video. Next, you'll have more financial flexibility when renting versus buying. For instance, if something breaks down like your furnace or your air conditioning, you don't have to pay for the repair yourself. You just call up the landlord and they'll take care of it. So any extra cash you have at the end of the month, you can save towards your goals, like buying a car or a house or paying down your child's tuition, whatever it may be. Next is something I like to call location flexibility, whereby you have the ability to pick up and live in a new neighborhood when you choose, provided you give your landlord sufficient notice or you work something out with him or her. For instance, let's say you realize that you don't like the neighborhood you live in because it turns out that there's a serious drug problem you weren't aware of.
Surprise!
So you're not stuck there. You can actually find a new place and live in a new neighborhood more tailored to your lifestyle. Now let's talk about the rental market in Toronto, which some may view as a disadvantage. Truth be told, it's no walk in the park. In fact, if you're looking for a place to rent, it's going to be tough on two counts. One, there's a lot of competition between tenants. And two, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. That's because the average rents in the GTA have been increasing since 2021. In fact, Q3 of this year saw an increase of 6.1%, 7.8%, and 14.5% year over year for 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units respectively. And this holds true in many other parts of Canada. Take a look at Vancouver and Burnaby, which trumps Toronto in regards to average rents. Average rents in both cities increased by 10.1 and 22.4% year over year. So there's that. And now let's look at the Toronto resale market from a buyer's perspective. At a very high level, things have definitely shifted. We were in a seller's market for the better part of the year, but despite starting the year off in a strong seller's market, we began seeing signs of a slowdown by the latter part of June. Now, things typically slow down in the summer, and then we see an uptick as we enter the fall market. But we haven't seen that uptick yet, nor will we, because as I said, we're shifting. Based on the current market conditions, buyers may be able to get a better deal today than they would have, say, back in May. But have prices hit rock bottom? Probably not. But I'm never one to advise someone to time the market. By the way, if this is your first time on the channel and you want to know all there is to know about living in Toronto, including real estate plus all the great stuff to do in the city, then subscribe and tap that bell so you can be the first to know about everything Toronto. So back to the question, which is better, buying or renting in today's market? Truth is, there's no single right or wrong answer. The reality is that everyone's situation is unique, and your situation will determine what is better for you. But to help you determine if buying is the better option for you, you'll need to examine these 3 items. Ask yourself, 1. Is home ownership your primary goal? 2. What is your risk tolerance? And 3. What is your current financial situation? Let's dive into each of these questions, and let's start with number 1. Is home ownership your primary goal? I really hope the answer to this question is yes, since historically, home ownership has proven to be an excellent way to build equity. But if you answered no, then obviously you have other priorities at this stage in your life. Whatever it is, if the answer to this question is no, well, then right off the bat, renting is probably a better option for you. Next, what is your risk tolerance? Now, this is very important because it could potentially become a severe pain point for many people, mainly with respect to fluctuations in property value. Because as we're seeing in today's market, things can change rather quickly. So let's say you buy a home and suddenly the market shifts. and your home value drops significantly. Is this something that's going to keep you up at night, or can you roll with the punches? And this falls back to homeownership being a long-term investment. The days of flipping a home and making between 5 and 10% return in less than a year may be done for the time being. So as a buyer, you should be looking to purchase a home that will fulfill your needs for the next 8 to 10 years, which will give you an opportunity to earn that equity. And lastly, and this is the big one, what is your current financial situation? Now, I don't just mean being able to afford the purchase price. You'll need to factor in all the other items involved. And these are some of the items you'll need to satisfy when considering buying a home. 1. You have a healthy credit score. 2. You can cover the down payment and closing costs. 3. You can afford your monthly mortgage payments. 4. Along with your mortgage payments, you can satisfy any outstanding debt payments, like credit cards or line of credits. And 5. You have a sufficient emergency fund. If all these are in check and you're not stretching yourself at the end of the month, then you're in a good position where you can consider buying a home. Now, I realize that this is a very high-level analysis of where you're at in your decision-making process, but at least it provides you with a starting point to help you determine whether or not you're in a position to consider buying a home versus renting. So the moral of the story is, it's not about timing the market. Buying a property versus renting all comes down to your unique situation. And as a starting point to help you decide, it all boils down to these 3 questions. 1. Is home ownership your primary goal? 2. What is your risk tolerance? And 3. What is your current financial situation? If you satisfy these 3 items, then buying a home may just be the right choice for you, and you're that much closer to starting your search for a new home. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. And remember, if you're thinking of moving to or leaving Toronto, reach out to us anytime. Every day we get calls from people just like you planning their Toronto move. Whether you're moving in 3 days or in 3 months, we got you covered. Our team is dedicated to providing tailored solutions that match your needs and timeline to help make your move easy and stress-free. Thanks for watching, subscribing, and liking this video. And don't forget to tap that bell. And remember, if you're planning a move, feel free to give us a call, send us a text, or drop us an email. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.